Hey, Gutfoxx here. Today I want to talk about Legends in MLB The Show 21. Now, I think SDS has done a pretty great job including Legends of the game in the game over the past few years, right? They said MLB 20's focus was really on, the 90s and 2000 era players, and they did a really good job bringing them in. Like I think Team Affinity, we saw a lot of that. We'll talk about the collection rewards. I mean, there's a lot of ways that they brought Legends into the game through packs, through this, and I wish Team Affinity, they just do more of it, right? This is one of the best things that's been included in any Ultimate Team game mode out of all of them, out of baseball, basketball, football, and soccer there. So I like what they did with this, and obviously some of the guys they brought in, like Mike Schmidt in this program was a Hall of Famer, one of the all-time greatest, but they also brought in guys like Jason Kendall that was not only like, not necessarily a Hall of Fame, but like a fan favorite. Now, he was great for the franchise, and I know being a Pirates fan is super depressing, and you don't have to tell me about that. But like seeing Jason Kendall, what he brought. Now I know Brian Giles, another one from that era that's kind of got a little bit of I think he caused some legal trouble, so he probably won't be in the game for good reason. Jason Bay, another Pirate that actually played pretty well back in the day. And there's a few more. Like, bring in more of those guys. I love those type of players, and I'm not going to go through a whole bunch of lists of those guys. And I'm going to talk about the all-time greats, collection rewards, that kind of stuff that I want to see in 21. And that's kind of what this video is focused around. It's like, what do I want to see for Legends going forward into next year? The game's like less than a month away now. We're kind of excited. You see a lot of my roster. My roster right now is a bunch of Legends. There's a couple live series guys and stuff. But like, I love Jimmy Fox. I love the history of baseball, right? There's a reason why I love Jimmy Fox. I don't know if you can tell why, or the connection there between Double X and myself. But Babe Ruth, also one of my favorite players of all time, right? Honest Wagner, same way. One of the best shortstops of all time, if not the number one. So, I love it. Who else should they bring to 21, and specifically as the live series collection? Now, I do believe, in my opinion, if we go to the collection, right, this is super important. Outside of like the XP rewards, which basically everybody got a bunch of 99s for free. If we can go take a look at the XP reward path. Now, I think they did a pretty good job bringing in guys that are like, kind of exciting here and new to the game. And some of them obviously are repeats too, but that's kind of cool. Bringing 99s day one, maybe a little much. Not specifically with these guys. These are okay. You don't really see a lot of them on endgame rosters, but it was more like this Corey Kluber that was not this. Sorry, I messed up. This Corey Kluber that caused a lot of issues early on in the year. They basically had to change and patch the game so that way people would have pitched Corey Kluber more than we wanted to see him. So it's too bad they had to change the entire game because of this one card. It was the same thing we saw with Kershaw the year before. They had to change starter stamina because the starters and the cards you got like Hal and him being 99 overalls, or the best reliever in the game for a long time was Rolly Fingers, or arguably, there was maybe a couple other that close to him. But like he was my best one for a long time. 35 inning pitch, 2.78 ERA with a lot of that I think on All-Star too. So that was pretty good. But basically, I wish for the relievers and starters to be balanced, and for us not to get maybe that Corey Kluber or Kershaw type situation going into 21, maybe balance those out a little bit better. But for the collection reward, who I kind of want to see, and these guys are 99 overalls too, because they are very expensive to do day one, and it takes a lot of people a couple months to do it if you're not putting money into the game day one to do it with like $1,000, right? Or $500 to $600. Probably you can do it as a little bit smarter of a way. So basically, Mickey Mantle, who I think is the most powerful card I've ever seen in any sort of Ultimate Team game mode, right off the bat, right? With his top end speed at 92, patrolling center field, hitting stats, switch hitter is the reason why I think he's better than Mays. Mays was awful for me the year before. But this card hit, 400 for me. Quite a bit of it was in events too, and his average has actually gone down since I repicked up the game. And it's a hard time getting your eye back for baseball after being gone for a few months, but we're working on it. So, who do I think should compete? It's got to be like a premium card, a well-wanted premium position, or stats all around. I want Josh Gibson. A lot of people don't know who Josh Gibson was. One of the greatest players of all time. Sadly, left out of the major leagues due to racism. So hopefully this right-handed hitting catcher who was freaking amazing, prodigious power, becomes, because I think catcher being this position. Now we had Ivan Rodriguez in last year's game, not 2019, as a collection reward, as like I think it was the AL, and that was nice. But Josh Gibson, who would be like, over 100 contact power, have a cannon for an arm. Maybe won't be as fast as Mantle, obviously. But will be an all-around great choice and backstop for basically the whole game as an endgame card as it comes out day one. Now, these two, the AL and NL collection rewards, kind of go like, Craig Biggio's a Hall of Famer, Sheffield's not. He's kind of like an edge case there. But who would I want there for like those collection rewards? I don't know. Maybe I've like, I hate to dip too much into the 90s because that was like the in 20s thing, but in 21 maybe do something like that. Maybe like Nomar Garcia Parra, shortstop, because Craig Biggio is a second baseman. It's a premium position. We don't really get a lot of depth there. I mean, this year we got Hornsby and everything. I think we had him the year before too. So that's a couple of years of Hornsby, who's end game once we end up getting him a little bit later in the season. But I think Nomar would be kind of cool at shortstop right away to try him out. Now, a fan favorite. Dude hit like 370 something. Was it 90? Let me look this up. 90. He hit 372 in 2000. So he'd be a very high contact shortstop. Decent range. Obviously, they fudge a little bit of stats to make him a little bit better. 600 slugging in 99, 599 in 2000. So he has some decent pop too. Not exactly great on the bases. Max stole 22 bases in one season. So overall, I think that'd be a very fun, obviously very popular around Boston pick, even though, they got rid of him and then they won the World Series, was it 2000? Yeah, they got rid of him in 2004 and they won it that year too. So anyways, and then like the NL reward, maybe if we're going to stick with the 90s theme to Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire would be kind of cool there too as the NL reward. Now, I don't know. Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa are very controversial names due to steroids. Obviously, they have a few players in the game from that era, some of them less tainted with it than others. Ortiz among one of them. But he's like, it's kind of like, did he, didn't he? There's no actual definitive proof, even though there was some samples with the supposed to be anonymous. But I'm not going to get into that whole thing here. That one testing in like the early 2000s, they said it was going to be anonymous, but it all leaked. So who else would I want as like new legends in the game, right? Guys like Satchel Paige, Cool Papa Bell, Buck Leonard, Rube Foster, Oscar Charleston, them, along with MLB greats Koufax, McGuire, Alex Rodriguez, Jose Canseco, Dale Strawberry, Ron Gant, Howard Johnson, Dante Bichette, Raul Mondesi, Bobby Abreu, Carlos Beltran, David Wright. Beltran's got a lot of people remember. It was at night 17 where he was absolutely freaking insane. End game, because that's the last year they had like only 99 stats and he was basically that maxed out before we got the Immortals in 18. So we can also look down the list of all-time greatest WAR, or we can go to like Hall of Famers, and we can kind of look through them from the beginning, from Ty Cobb and the initiation, Walter Johnson. We got a lot of these guys. We got all of them. Executives, don't care. Nat LaJoy we haven't got in. Is that how you say it? LaJoy? I think that's how you say it. Like, kind of manager. Triz Speaker. Cy Young we've got. Grover Cleveland. We have Cap Anson should be in. Eddie Collins. I love it. Buck Ewing. Lou Gehrig we got. So like a lot of the Charles, is this Old Hoss Radburn? Yes, we need Old Hoss Radburn in the game for sure. Yeah, Old Hoss Radburn. He had a hilarious Twitter account. And then even more like nearer day Hall of Famers. Like we're missing a few. Musina. We got Martinez. Harold Baines made it. Jeter would be a huge name, right? They kind of teased out Jeter. They teased him so well, like, it almost feels like he should be in the game. Like the way they teased him for Alfonso Soriano's reveal. I definitely want to see Barry Bonds. If they could somehow throw the bag at Barry Bonds. I feel like Barry Bonds would be the cover athlete, though, right? So I don't know how much of the bag they could throw at him. But that would be kind of neat, in my opinion. Otherwise, they've done a good job, right? Getting Bagwell, Piazza, Griffey, Smoltz, Pedro, and Randy Johnson are two huge names from the 90s to 2000s. That would be like, just love, right? I almost don't want Randy Johnson in the game because I hit those lefty sidewinders so poorly. Like Chris Sale already gives me enough trouble. That Randy Johnson would just be to another level with his fastball slider combo. It just... His, what was it, 6'10", 6'11" frame? Oh, man. That would be brutal. But, yeah, Randy Johnson. Pedro's the one. I want those two. Those pitchers, like them and maybe Koufax, as guys that I'd want, that I'd love in the game. Because of, the awesome memories and awesome production they've had. We can look back. Hank Aaron definitely should be in the game. We got a lot of these guys. Eddie Collins we could use. Kid Nichols would be awesome. That's like a turn of the century pitcher. So like we got a few that we're missing. So they got a lot to choose from. Who do you guys want to see in the game? Ton of guys. I'm hoping for quite a few more 90s and 2000 era guys. And then maybe some like way old Hall of Famers too. That's kind of what I'm looking forward to. Let me know what you guys thought. I want all the all-timers. Thanks for watching. Call to action. See you tomorrow.